Alright. On the channel. We're a couple minutes late here. They are rolling on track. We have not gone green yet, but we are ready, and here we go. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. I just got home, so a little close on time here for actually getting done. But Kyle Larson on pole, Hamlin second. I think your big surprise potentially could come from one of those Toyotas. I think Hamlin and Bell are both potential threats to surprise here on the long run, potentially. The short run, who knows? Let me pull up the leaderboard on my other, because I do have a second monitor today, so I can actually keep everything updated for you guys, and so I can keep everything separate so I don't end up messing up the screen region. Alright, so there we go. How's everybody doing today, though? We should be doing pretty good. They're showing the dog leg being double the width of the actual racing surface, but hey, it's fully open if you want to use it anytime except for on restarts. Restarts, you can't cut that line until you get past start-finish line. Now, there's still a long way to cut it after start-finish line, and you will see them diving below there a lot. But, yep. So, here we go. Highlight, stream marker. Alright, so here we go. Green flag is out. Larson is on his way with the race, so here we go. Yeah, I don't have a great view of it today. I got the phone down much lower than normal, so I apologize. But here we go. Here we go. Got some pretty good racing getting ready to go here today. Let's see what we got. Byron going to the inside here on Kyle Larson. He's going to take the lead here on lap number 2. Yeah, hey, there's Bell moving his way up into the top 5 here. He's moved himself up to 3rd here over Denny Hamlin to start the race. But there we go, Byron up to the top of the grid. He's passed Larson already, which is impressive because yes, the last couple of days it didn't look like anyone was going to pass Larson all day. Oh, Hamlin gets back by Bell. So Hamlin and Bell kind of trading spots back and forth here to start the race. Here comes Keselowski around the outside trying to take advantage. He gets back ahead of Bell, so Bell shuffles back. And here comes Chastain to 8th. Or, not 8th. From 8th, I believe, on the starting grid. Up to the 5th spot here. He's side by side with Christopher Bell as he's going down the track here. So here we go. Let's see. We got everything updating all right. There we go. Pulling up the stream. That way I can keep an eye on everything, see how everything looks. But yeah, here we go. We got a pretty good race going here. This isn't a track where I'm expecting a ton of thrills early on, but late in the race, while everybody's trying to decide who's going to get the stage points and the eventual race finish, I think is going to be a big thing. So there we go. So yeah, right now, kind of just a lot of shuffling around right now. Everybody trying to figure out where they stand. I was excited to see McDowell get a top 10 starting spot here. Obviously, a home race for him, but not necessarily a track he typically performs well at. Although I think he got a top 10 here last year, or a top 10 starting spot at least here last year. Might not do as well in the long run, but at least on the one lap speed, he seems to tend to do pretty well here. Suarez hanging around the top 10. Reddick, he was one I had my eye on from starting 12th. He's up to the 9th or 8th here. He's battling with McDowell, and he takes the 8th spot there from McDowell. So there we go. Here we go. But yeah, it looks really tough to pass so far, at least. Although, honestly, again, it's. I say hard to pass. It looks pretty doable. Like, the passing looks doable, but it doesn't look. It's not too easy, but it's also not too tough. So, here we go. And say they're really falling off early. And okay, the first stage is only 60 laps. Okay, it's pretty short stage here. I'm gonna need to get some water here soon because I am starting to be a little dry here. But Logano and Truex made a bit of contact there early on. And now Bubba making contact with Truex here. But yeah. Let's see. Kyle Busch is in 12th right now, so he's slid back a little bit from the start. And yeah, he just hasn't looked super comfortable in that car this week. I mean, I say comfortable. He's not Kyle Busch. For Kyle Busch, comfortable is very different for him than other drivers would be. Oh. Trying to see if I can get that individual screen region a little bit bigger. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to get any larger there for you guys, so. Alright, there we go. How's it going, guys? We're going, the race is going to their first commercial break. We don't have that option today, so I'm going to just try and close out of a couple things. Let's see. Where are we going next week? Next week is back east for Atlanta. Alright, so Atlanta next week, that's going to be interesting. Of course, we still got a long way to go here at Phoenix. But, yeah. Right now, though, yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how this goes. Alright, here we go. Let's see. Byron looking to see if there's any major shakeups in the lineup right now. Both Trackhouse cars. Oh, cool to see Ty Gibbs in the top 10. McDowell's dropped back quite a bit here on the start. That's kind of normal. Alright, so yeah, here we go. Yeah, so for the most part, the Cup guys, they've been just kind of settling into their spots here for the start of the race. Um, and for most of them, it's basically their qualifying positions outside of the fact that Byron leapfrogged both Larson and Hamlin early on. And he's now actually gapping Larson. He's at 1.3 ahead there on Kyle Larson. So here we go. It's interesting to see. Again, the question is how far their tires are going to go. I think you're probably going to see. I think you might see some groups maybe pit at halfway to try and gain the time advantage that is there to be gained. Just kind of looking at the tire strategy already. Because again, tire fall off seems to be major. So, for right now, at least, I think that might be a strategy to keep an eye on. And 1.8 now for William Byron ahead of Larson. It's a pretty good, honestly, that's a pretty good gap there for him. But yeah, it definitely looks like the cars are a lot looser. So I'd say that NASCAR has achieved what they were looking for with the new aero package that they brought this weekend. And that's kind of the other thing is that this race is usually mainly just a measuring stick to see how you're going to be for championship weekend in Phoenix. So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But again, like tire fall off and looking at lap times, like even so far, comparing best to last to their last laps, they've lost about a second already off their lap time. So if you can get a second a lap in 20 lap game, if you pit at say 30 to try and game that, the question is though how many laps you lose under green trying to do that. Do we maybe get a caution in the middle of this to try and split it? But yeah, there's no rain or anything around, so yeah, it's pretty, honestly, great day for racing here in the Phoenix Desert. Alright, here we go. Let's see. We got Harvick and Kyle Busch battling it out back in 12th and 13th there. Let's see. What do we... anybody in chat? How's everybody doing? But yeah, right now... again, it's kind of just everybody falling into lockstep right now. They're starting to gain bits of advantage here. So, like, let's see. Yeah, you got about 2 seconds between first and second, and you got about 2 seconds between second and third. Then that's a little bit tighter through the rest of the field, but I mean, again, just kind of the 2 second gaps that they are already forming is really concerning to some extent for the entertainment value of the race, because where they're starting to drag the lead out already. It's curious to see how it's going to go. Yep, so now they're talking about the tire fall off, so sounds like we're in the right direction here. Talking about the tires. But you lose so much time. The question is this a Richmond? Can you pull a Richmond type pit stop where you pit at halfway in the stage and you end up overrunning the entire field in speed in between now and then? There we go. Bell up to fourth. He passes Keselowski for fourth there. So there is some passing happening at the front, but there just isn't going to be much of it, and that's just kind of part of this track is that there isn't a ton of kind of leapfrogging happening all the time. You'd take some time to actually pass, especially if you have a slower car. It's take some time and strategy to build up a run to make a run around the outside. Also, not to mention exploring around the track, trying the outside inside lines. Because if you're running the exact same line as the other guy, it doesn't matter if you're going 10 miles an hour faster. If you're right behind him, it's going to be very hard to pass him if you can't make any other line work. So I think experimenting with line here early in this first stage is going to be important for these drivers, along with, again, maybe experimenting with those pit stops. Again, they're talking about green flag pit stops. That seems a little weird for me, but again, we've seen this type of strategy play out at a track like Richmond in the past. We've seen this, so I'm not saying it's impossible, and they're at their next commercial break. But yeah, I think right after the pit stops, I might go and grab that water that I was talking about because I do need it. But yeah, here we go. But yeah, the new aero package, it's really interesting because it wasn't necessarily meant to make the rate. It wasn't meant to create leapfrogging, but it's meant to make the cars harder to drive, which makes it that the faster drivers are going to win these things. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But so here we go. How's everybody doing here today? Who do you guys think who do you guys think is going to get this first stage? And do you guys think that we're going to see some pit stops here? 2.5 seconds now out in front for William Byron. Then Denny Hamlin's another 3 seconds behind Larson. And there's about 0.3 of a second there for Bell. So Bell is actually close enough to Hamlin to maybe put up a fight there. But again, if they're looking at maybe pitting here in the stage, I think you'd be silly to fight with your teammate and slow you both down. But again, I wouldn't put it past them potentially fighting on track, trying to gain some spots. Because again, you want to try and gain what you can before the pit stop. That way you're not having to come into pit road with someone in front of you. Now, on your bumper, that's also not great, but yeah, it is going to be curious to see what ends up happening here as we get ready for this first round of green flag stops, potentially. Again, I think green flag stops is honestly a portion of why the why this race is or why this new aero package is doing this. Because with this new aero package, it's gonna produce less grip, which means your tires are gonna wear out sooner. So I'd say this: if we do see green flag stops here soon, I would credit that all to the new aero package. Really. So here we go. Larson did lead that first lap, but he has fallen off since then. So it's now 3.14 there for Larson. So yeah, Byron's basically just leapfrogged those top two and then taken off. Keselowski's fallen back a bit. And say Reddick's looking pretty good right now. He's up 6. McDowell dropping back quite a few spots there. Just kind of looking at some of the other ones. Kyle Busch is up to 11th. That's not too bad. But again, we're waiting to see what ends up happening here in terms of the pit stops. So Busher's up 7. That's actually pretty good, seeing Busher up in the 14th spot. He didn't have the best of qualifying performances yesterday, but I think that proves that he has some true speed in his car there. Alright, so here we go. Kind of looking to see if we got any guys kind of ducking down towards pit road, but it really just looks like they're just kind of... Because that's the hard part about this track where you use the apron, is that you're going to see some guys looking like they're going towards pit road, but they aren't really. So, Reddick's now up to 6th place here. Curious to see what Reddick can do here as he's closing in on some of those other Toyotas. All he has to do is get by Blaney, and then it's 1, 2, 3 Toyota in 3rd, 4th, 5th. But here we go. How's it going, everybody? So, yeah, that's the other thing. Shifting gears here is always going to create some weird interactions. Because that's the other thing that they're doing here that they don't normally do at Phoenix, is that they are shifting with the new car. It's just kind of one of those things where you have a 5th gear now, so you're going to see some shifts up and down. And yeah, your up shifts and your down shifts, you gotta get those at the right spot. You know, whether it's off the corner or entering the corner to try and slow your car down. A couple different drivers we saw yesterday in qualifying, they had different opinions on whether you want to use it to try and slow your car down entering the corner versus what you want to do in terms of getting off the corner to try and carry that speed, not hurt your engine too much. And honestly, I would say that this in the race is even more important, to not hurt your engine, because you could really do some real damage to your engine if you're not careful today. Kyle Busch up into that top 10. Harvick up into the top 10 as well. Daniel Suarez dropping back a little bit. So we're just kind of waiting to see what ends up happening here. But we're past 40 laps now in this race, and we have not seen a early pit stop yet like they've been talking about. So maybe it's just not happening yet. But again, it seems weird that we haven't seen one yet. And they're going to more commercials here. Let me pull up some onboard camera to watch as well. I haven't actually played around with the NASCAR Drive features in a while. So you got onboard cameras for all the drivers, but they don't have the old battle cams and whatnot. So here we go. I'm going to pull up a few of the different Toyota cameras, see what they got. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the NASCAR Drive cameras, but yeah. Oh, okay. So it's the leader. Oh, okay. There we go. That's how. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's pull up Bell, and we'll also pull up Hamlin's in cars. That way I can kind of see them and watch this battle between these two drivers. So yeah, they're in a side-by-side commercial, by the way, in case you guys are wondering. I was just kind of using the time to try and explore this, explore the in-car camera options from NASCAR Drive. But yeah. How's everybody's night or day going here? So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the in-car cameras, honestly, today. Like they just where they're all. I kind of wish that some of them were like roof camera, maybe, versus all kind of being in car from that passenger seat perspective. Not to mention, I'm sure it's not doing much for my. Yep, there we go. I was gonna say it's not doing much for my signal. I'm sure. Oh yeah, I forgot. The second stage is so long. That's ridiculous. I mean, let's say no one trying the early pit strategy here, so we're not really gonna get a chance to see if it had some potential. There we go. Reddick up to 5th, so we do have 3 Toyotas in the top 5. Curious to see how that maybe plays out. Let me see if I can try and fix the stream here. It is buffering a bit. But yeah, here we go. We can go 50 laps. That's pushing it on a set of tires here. Kyle Busch in the RCR Chevy up to 10th still. I mean, there really isn't much position changing going on outside of Reddick, who's climbed his way all the way to 5th here. So. Oh, Stenhouse coming to pit road. Oh, Stenhouse wasn't the one trying to get to pit road. Who is it? Can't tell who that is. Who's coming to pit road? Oh, that's BJ McLeod. Okay, it's nobody important. BJ McLeod. As much as I like the guy, but he's not in a contending car here. Thought they were talking about Stenhouse maybe coming to the pit road. Alright, so yeah, there we go. They settled it out. Yeah, Stenhouse in the bagel car. But yeah, as I say, the cars are definitely slipping and sliding more than normal. Buescher up to 12th. There's some climbing for Buescher. He's almost up 10 spots from where he started. So here we go. We got ourselves, honestly, I mean, again, like the drivers who are actually performing here. Keselowski's starting to slide back. Harvick showing why he's the Phoenix champion here. He just moved his way up into the towards the top 10. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him up in the top 10 here, or in the top 10 most of the day, and maybe even top 5 by the end of this. Wait a minute. Is that Logano getting lapped? Joey Logano just got lapped. Come on, Stenhouse. Let's get that free pass from Logano. Come on. Let's go. Come on, Stenhouse. Let's get that free pass from Logano. Come on. Here we go. We're closing in on the end of the stage 1, by the way. You guys can see it on the screen, but we got about 3 laps to go. Stenhouse has got to get by Logano here for this free pass. Priest is not going to get caught unless he really slows down here. I think Byron is content to ride behind him unless Joey looks like he's going to hold on for the free pass. I think if you're Stenhouse, this is the time to kind of start throwing the manners out the window a little bit. Throw a little bit of manners out the window. Just give Joey Logano a little bit of a bump to move him out your way to try and take this free pass away. Because again, you need this free pass if you're Stenhouse. But it does not look like he has the speed really to keep up with Logano, unfortunately, here. And Byron wins the stage, and looks like Logano is going to get himself the free pass, unfortunately. For me. Unfortunately for me, good for the rest of the race, because it means that one of your fastest drivers is going to be in contention and on the lead lap. But as I go to the stage break, I am going to go get some water, because I need it. But yeah, I should be back by the time the commercial break is up. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. I'm back, and we are under green flag or yellow flag pit stops here. How's it going, everybody? But yeah, we're back here for the pit stops here at the end of the stage. We're waiting to see what they're gonna end up looking like here. Larson wins the race off pit road over Byron, Bell, Hamlin, Kyle Busch jumping 5 spots there. So Kyle Busch jumping all the way into 5th spot here. So I was worried about the speed that Kyle had a little bit, where he was kind of stuck around that spot in the race, but he looks good, honestly. And the fact that he's going to have some track position now to work with, curious to see how that ends up translating here. But here we go. And then back to commercial break while we have got that. But yeah, curious to see how some of these guys might end up shaking up this field. But for right now, it definitely looks like it's just going to be down to how you can get for some track position early on. Alright, so here we go. Waiting to kind of see, okay, there we go. The starting lineup is kind of cycled back around to it here. Looking to make sure that all the lineups are staying up to date. But yeah, everything should be staying up to date better this week than it was the past few weeks where things weren't really updating well. But yeah, Kyle Busch up to 5th. That's going to be an interesting one to see how that works out. But yeah. How's everybody doing? We got 8 people in here watching. How's it going, everybody? Who's everybody's pick to win? Honestly, my pre-race pick was probably I think this race was going to go I was looking at Larson or maybe Bell. I think Bell was really kind of the one I was looking at for kind of not the front running pick. So we'll say Bell is my pick just because I think Larson's a little too easy of a pick this week. Although honestly, Byron's looking threatening just as well. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what Bell can do from the 3rd spot, like Byron did on the first start. So here we go. And showing some commercials for the USA versus Mexico baseball game tonight in the World Baseball Classic. At 10 o'clock tonight. I'm not going to be watching it, unfortunately. That's too late. But here we go. William Byron is doing a fantastic job of earning stage points, although he doesn't need them anymore. I mean, the playoff point will be nice. There we go. Larson bottom, Byron to the top, Bell to the bottom. Hamlin takes the outside, so Kyle Busch 3rd on the inside line. That's going to be the one I'm interested in watching. Being a biased Kyle Busch fan, you're always keeping an eye on where he goes. But I'm also curious to see what Christopher Bell can do from that inside 2nd row spot, because that's where Byron was on the start of this race when he jumped the 5 and the 11 to take the lead. Because yeah, if Bell can do what Byron did on the start of the race, maybe he can pull away and win this one. Oh, Ty Dillon too fast entering pit road. It's unfortunate. Oh, we're losing some signal. That's not good. But they are back under the green flag here. I'm just switching my earbud. That way I don't have to worry later when my earbud dies. Alright, Bell hasn't done much of anything from that third spot. I was kind of expecting more. Trying to get the hair out of my ear there, but yeah. So you go green here. Oh. So yeah, right now this yeah, this race really is kind of gonna it is gonna just naturally kind of fall into a little bit of lockstep. Yeah, everybody did get a chance to adjust on their cars. Hey, Patrick, how's it going? Who's your pick to win today, Patrick? My pre-race pick was Christopher Bell, is who I went with for kind of my pre to early race pick. After seeing that first stage, I kind of settled on it, but Bell was kind of one of those I was looking at. Him and Larson were my two that I was kind of interested in, and I settled on Bell as my official pre-race pick, so... here we go. Chastain looking to the inside here on Christopher Bell. Looks like Bell really struggles on the early run, but he comes alive on the later run. Huh. Alright, Kyle Busch is having fun. That's good. Whenever Kyle Busch is having fun, he's usually pretty good, but again, he seems to fall back on the early run, but he'll pull up on the long run. So here we go. Blaney in 10th. Reddick fell all the way back to 9th on that pit stop. That's not good. Chris Buescher all the way up to 11th. He's looking pretty good. You're hoping for some happy Harvick today there, Patrick? Honestly, not a bad pick. He moved his way up into that top 10 already. He's 7th right now. But yeah, where this stage here is 125 laps for this one, it's almost double the length. First off, there's a pretty much a guarantee that you need to make a green flag stop at some point. But also, you're going to have a very tough situation here where you're going to have to make a long run work here. Alright, I'm going to try and get this phone plugged in, that way it doesn't die on me. Oh, okay, so they had a wheel nut issue on the stop for Reddick. That's why he dropped back so far. Okay, that explains it. Alright, so here we go. So here we go. And they're going to another commercial break here, 17 laps into this segment. Let's see, is it going to be full court? Or is it going to be full screen, or is it side by side? Let's see. It's full screen, so here we go. It's a full screen commercial break, which means we get to talk racing for a bit here. Just kind of early season vibes. Who do you guys feeling trending up, trending down? So, who do you guys think? In terms of trending up, I would say, honestly, the Hendrick cars, I feel like, have always kind of been trending up. I think the 9 car is hard to judge because of Elliott's injury, where he's been replaced this week. But I think, in particular, Larson and Byron have really been showing their worth these last 2 weeks. I think Kyle Busch has been showing his value over the last, really, ever since he got to this team, because outside of Vegas, I think he easily could have won the first 3 races if he had a little bit of luck. Yeah, RFK, that's another one that's been trending way up compared to last year, especially that number 6 team. The number 17's right about where it had been, but the 6 is massively improved. I will say that one. Yep. I think in terms of trending down, let's see. I mean, again, it's kind of one of those things where it's hard to say that Elliott is trending down, but again, injuries in sports, it's hard to really predict how he's gonna bounce back. Let me pull up some actual standings. Let's see who's near the bottom. Reddick is another one that's been surprisingly off the pace, despite not feeling like he was off the pace at almost any race. I mean, maybe it's just been some bad luck and whatnot, but the fact that he is still tied in points right now with Travis Pastrana is kind of funny. 23-11 as a whole isn't too off the pace. Honestly, Bubba right there tied for that final spot in the points. Yeah, I think. I think again the 2 Stewart-Haas cars, the 41 and the 14, I think is another one that I would say is trending down massively. Even though honestly the 41 really couldn't trend much further down the grid. Just kind of the fact that you made a driver change to try and improve that car and it dragged the teammate down as well is kind of concerning. But yeah, that's my opinion there. And we're coming back from commercial break. But yeah, ultimately though, I think, yeah, Hendrick, RFK are trending up. Kyle Busch trending up. Then I'd say Reddick and the 2 SHR guys that I mentioned, Briscoe and Reddick, are really concerning right now. Also, there's a really crazy battle apparently between Kyle Busch and Chris Buescher for the 10th spot right now, and they're not showing it yet. They're showing the Coca-Cola Racing family drivers. So, Hamlin 3rd, Suarez 13th, 23rd for Logano, and 27th for Austin Dillon. That was one I was kind of bummed to see Austin Dillon go that bad. I don't know. The Penske cars really haven't looked off the pace necessarily. I mean, they weren't as good at Daytona as we kind of had hoped. But then most of these early season races really just aren't normal kind of Ford races normally. I mean, certainly there's some races that we kind of expected that maybe they would have had something at, like the Vegas race. Maybe we expected for the Penske Fords to be a little better. Kevin Harvick has carried the Stewart-Haas team for years. Really, ever since they went to Ford, it's been him and Kurt Busch for a little while holding that team up by its bootstraps, and that's about it. But, yeah. That's the weird thing, because it feels like SHR should be a big team because they got 4 cars, but they don't perform like it. Like, they never really performed like a top team outside of, again, Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch at times, and what's his name, and Kevin Harvick. Truex, I would say, is trending up a bit from where he was especially towards the end of last year, because at the end of last year he was looking really kind of slow and almost kind of worn out or washed up almost. But yeah, so they're doing through the field right now, kind of covering it all. Reddick's up to 8th. Kyle Busch has now got that spot from Chris Buescher for now. We'll have to wait and see if that maintains that way. Blaney up inside the top 10. That's nice to see. But yeah, we're right now coming up on 30 laps here in this first segment. So here we go. Kyle Larson now, he's managing about a 1 second lead, and Christopher Bell's 4 seconds back of them. Curious to see Christopher Bell being like 3.5 seconds off of second place. Again, right now, it seems like those two Hendrick Chevys from last week are fighting it out again today. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that Keselowski is definitely a big gain here. But, yeah. Definitely an interesting one to kind of see what happens here. So, yeah, right now they're just kind of showing some aerial shots. Chastain up in that top 5. That's an interesting one to see up there. You know, I'm curious to see what he'll do on the long run. Where is who running? Talking about Keselowski, he is currently in the 6th spot, if that's who you're asking about. But yeah, he's maintained top 10 all day so far. And I don't see that changing much. Ooh, Kyle Busch up to 9th. He just passed Ryan Blaney there. That's nice to see. Nice to see some life out of that 8 car. Starting to move up the grid. Oh, there's Josh Berry there. So yeah, Josh Berry back there in 22nd spot right now. So yeah, Keselowski's running 6th place right now. Just kind of, he's about 0.8 of a second ahead behind Chastain, and he's about 0.2 ahead of Harvick right now. So he's just kind of comfortable right where he is, probably. I mean, obviously, it's hard to be comfortable with Harvick breathing down your neck, but yeah. So here we go. Oh, Harvick coming up to the corner of the 6 car. I don't want to see him wreck the 6, but here we go. He's got the nose in there. He should take the spot pretty easily on this one. Ah, nice. But actually no. I thought when I saw Harvick get his nose to the inside there, I thought Harvick had it, but Keselowski back. Fox, why, when we have a back and forth battle between Harvick and Keselowski for 6th place, do we cut away to show the 2 leaders running about a second apart, just kind of running, not passing each other, not side by side? Why? And it looks like Harvick got the spot over Brad Keselowski while we weren't able to see it, but oh man, that bugs me. We were in the middle of a great battle for the lead, or not for the lead, but a great battle inside the top 10 between 2 drivers who are former champ. Each one is a former champion. Harvick, the 2014 champion, and Keselowski, the 2012 champion. And we cut away from it to show Larson and Byron not really competing with each other. And by the way, they were actually about 0.3 of a second apart, not a full second, but they weren't challenging each other for the spot. Oh man, that's annoying. Whew, man. That was a thing. Yikes. Yep. Didn't like that one, that's for sure. And now we're at commercial break, which is fair. I mean, we'd gone about 20, 25 laps. I think we were kind of due for a thing. I'm expecting we will probably see some pit stops around lap 65. I think would probably be my pick lap here. sometime around 60, 65 laps in. Try and break the stage up somewhat in half, kind of basically race it like it's a 4-stage race here. Because the first stage was 60 laps and you pit there, you were able to make it to 60 laps. And you got 125 here. I think you go, again, about 60, 65, pit, and then you break it up well. Alright, so here we go. This is actually really, honestly, the race is actually going a pretty decent pace. We're already 1/3 of the way through. We're at 101 laps completed out of 312, it being the full distance, assuming we don't have overtime. But yeah, pretty good race though so far, honestly. So, yep. Do we have anyone else in the chat that wants to share their pre-race picks? I mean, I mentioned mine was Christopher Bell was kind of the guy I was looking at. Obviously, that's looking like you're going to require a Kyle Larson and Byron collision to happen. But hey, you know what? Adjustments can be made on these pit stops. And Bell right now is just staying close enough right now. I know Patrick said that he's taking Harvick for the as his early race pick here. Do we got any other picks from anyone in the group? And we're back, by the way, from the commercial break. So here we go. So let's see how this is gonna go here. So they're showing right now just kind of talking about there we go. So Byron's starting to slide back a little further. Christopher Bell trying out some other lines. Not a whole lot really happening right now. We're just kind of falling into lockstep again, kind of waiting for the long run, kind of waiting to see what the long run cars do. Oh, Harvick passes Chastain for the 5th spot there. That's a thing that happened. But yeah, so that's an interesting one. See, Harvick now up into the top 5. Keselowski's dropped back to 7th. Or that's where he had been after Harvick passed him. Let me see what else we got for. All right, my dad's taking Larson there. Not much of a surprise, and he was he would have been my second pick if I were to take 2, but I just felt like not taking the pole sitter there. But yeah, certainly a solid pick though to take Larson. So Atlanta next week is at 3 p.m. for Atlanta, so hopefully we'll be a little bit more on time next week. But I'm excited to see Atlanta, honestly. It is a super speedway style. They do have a new rule change. I will probably do a rule breakdown video explaining that one. Because, again, it's another thing to be curious about that's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But, yeah. McDowell's dropped back to 14th, and they're going to another commercial break over on the TV. So we're going to be back without kind of visual input for a little bit. Ty Gibbs falling back to 20th. He looked okay for a little while there. Right now, Allmendinger and Barry are kind of the tail end of the lead lap. But yeah, a lot of guys struggling with the pace today. Obviously, BJ McLeod's out the race, it looks like. Not like we really thought he had it. Yeah, you do have a Larson hat. Say, even though you thought it was a Byron hat, I think is who you thought it was when you got it, but yep. Here you go. So yeah, right now they're just at commercial breaks. Let's see if we got any significant passes. Not really. Blaney passed Kyle Busch. I think that's new. So Blaney moved up to 8th over Kyle Busch, who moved back to 9th. Not a lot of changing of position, which honestly isn't a big shock for this racetrack. Yep, you thought it was Byron at. Yep. Bristol Dirt last year. But yeah. Right now, again, that's just kind of the style that Phoenix has been for the longest time, is that Phoenix has been the track where not a lot happens until everything happens all at once. And it really is that style. You go, because nothing happens, everybody just kind of falls into lockstep until points start getting paid out, and then everybody starts going for it. Alright, so here we go. Let's see what we got here. Byron's your favorite number 5 driver. He drove the number 9 through as his rise through the Trucks and Cup. Or through Trucks and Xfinity, I mean. But yeah, he might be your number 5th favorite. That might be where a number 5 could come in. But yeah. Shocker, William Byron had the fastest lap of the race all the way back at the 3rd lap of the race, so before they really put any wear and tear on the engines. Pre-race, they did confiscate the hood louvers out of so the hood openings, I guess I should probably explain what a louver is, but yeah, the hood openings that they use to let air out of the inside, they confiscated the hood louvers pre-qualifying of all 4 Hendrick cars, and after qualifying they also took Justin Haley's hood louvers away as well. Confiscated them because they thought they saw something they didn't like, so they're going to go back to R&D Center. That'll probably come out sometime next week. Yeah, we're coming up to our first green flag stops here. I think 5-10 laps max is how much longer we're going to go here before we go for the first green flag stops. But yeah. So yeah, right now though, these top 5 are just kind of, or the top 10 really, are probably just waiting for their pit stops here. And for a lot of these teams, this really is just kind of let's look through it. Larson, this is a championship tune-up for him, to tune up for the championship track. Byron, basically a championship tune-up. Christopher Bell, he's tuning his car for the championship here because he expects to be back here for the championship. Hamlin probably expects to be back here racing for the championship. Really, I'd say Harvick is the first driver that's actually racing this race to win the race today. The rest of them, I think, are really more focused on the... Oh, here we go. Pit stops. Hamlin, Larson, Byron. Okay, Bell. So, looks like Hamlin beat the others to pit road by a lap. So, curious to see if that ends up changing anything here. Chastain goes to the top. Keselowski doesn't pit. Busch stays out another lap. Reddick stays out. Buescher. I'm going to wait to see if anyone else has stayed out, but it looks like just those 5. Oh, Suarez, McDowell, Briscoe so far have stayed out. Amarola. So yeah, there's a lot of guys kind of shaking up the strategy here as we get ready. I'm curious to see what Chastain can do in terms of holding off the field. Because I think if you miss that early wave of pit stops, I think you just stay out and try and stretch it. Nope. There goes Kyle Busch to pit road. There's Chastain. I don't know. I think if you're maybe Keselowski or Reddick now, would be in position to maybe try and stretch this stage out and hope for a yellow later. You just don't want to be the yellow. Oh, nope. Keselowski's in the pits too. So that's not really an option either. Yay. And Larson cycles back around the lead. So nobody played any kind of fun strategy. Yay, I love no fun strategies. So, yep. So everybody's been to pit road except for Austin Dillon, but Dillon basically is just trying to save himself the lead lap here. Harvick shuffled his way up to fourth, though. No, was Bell too fast? Sounds like Christopher Bell might have been dinged for a speeding penalty there. Let's see. Christopher Bell is currently 8th right now. We'll have to wait and see if he drops way down the list. Harvick up to 4th, though. Looks like Harvick's in position to potentially get there. And again, I think he's one of those first guys who maybe doesn't necessarily expect to be at the championship later this year. But I think he wants to win a race in his farewell season, and this is probably one of his best opportunities to get that pit stop. Or not that pit stop, but that win. Chastain is in 5th. Blaney comes out 6th. 7th was Keselowski. 8th, still currently Christopher Bell. I think he has a speeding penalty, though, so we're going to see him drop. Buescher, Reddick, and then Suarez is that first car that you guys can't see in 11th. Alright, so let's see if we got any others here. Let's pull up the bigger leaderboard here. Let's see. Oh. Someone, I think, pit, but not someone in the top 10 there, at least not right away. Bowman's up to 12th. That's actually pretty nice to see. I'm going to go and check my fantasy lineups right now, actually. Would recommend that for you guys, too. To check your fantasy lineups while we got some time here. So yeah, right now we're cycling through this second round of pit stops, and we'll probably be green to the factors of the stage, or at the very least, we aren't going to have a massive shakeup in strategy. I think if we have a yellow, everybody will pit. Unless it happens, like, literally right now. But, yeah, not much is happening right now in terms of the actual on track. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 18 now that I moved Logano. Yeah, from my main fantasy leaderboard, I still have to go adjust it for my other leagues that I'm in. Like, I'm in a league with some of my other league racing guys. But yeah, make sure if you guys play the NASCAR fantasy game, check your lineups. It's a good time to try and get those adjusted now that we've gotten through pit stops. Oh, it was Kyle Busch who got dinged for speeding. Okay, that hurts. And he actually got dinged for a loose or for an out of control tire too. So that's a big hit. So, yeah, that's not good. That's going to be a really hard one for Kyle Busch to come back from. Where he didn't have lights out speed, but he had decent enough speed that he could keep up. How are you looking in the fantasy? Let me hop back over to my main account. So I can actually see our leaderboard here. Patrick and our... Oh, that's the wrong profile. Patrick, you are currently... you're in 6th, actually. That's not too bad. You currently have your best version of your lineup because Logano's in your box there. But yeah, so looks like it's gonna be an interesting day in terms of hopefully a good day for me in fantasy because I've got some good picks in. So yeah, it wasn't Bell. So Bell is in 8th. So yeah, kind of bummed that Kyle Busch got dinged for a speeding penalty here. Still got a couple more fantasy leagues to go and update. Got the NBC Beat the Broadcasters league I need to update. But yeah, honestly, again, kind of just not much. We're kind of just in lockstep again. We're kind of waiting for the end of this second stage to come. Once we hit about lap 100 in this stage, we'll be we'll kind of have some action. I think we'll start to pick up maybe. But again, I don't see anyone making an extra pit stop to try and jump anything. All right, two more. Got 2 more fantasy leagues I'm in. So yeah, Keselowski's really fallen back quite a bit. It looks like he's stuck in kind of 7th. He's kind of been in that back half of the top 10, top 5 ish most of the day. Oh yeah, I forgot Zane Smith is in this race. I completely forgot that Zane Smith was even in this race. But yeah, so Zane Smith is actually out there today. I completely forgot about that one. The truck champion from this past year. Ooh, Eric Almirola got the fence in yellow! We have a yellow! Caution flag is out! I didn't think we were going to get any action till we got another 20 laps under our belt, but we have an issue. So here comes Eric Almirola. He is coming to pit road, and there is a yellow flag for it. Looks like a blown tire. Maybe even the wheel coming off? Gonna have to wait and see on that one. I still have one more fantasy league to update, but yeah, it definitely looks like like his wheel was loose or something. Yeah, so it seems like the tire just got away from him. which is not good. That's going to incur a penalty. We'll have to see where it was under green. I think it's the super harsh version of that penalty. I'll have to look back at the rule book to see what it got changed to this year. But yep, there we go. All my fantasy lineups are set. Mainly just moving Logano to the garage. Because I thought Logano would have a better day today than he has. But yeah. Let me see if I can get. I'm also trying to get my my NASCAR fan reward points up here from the race. But for some reason, it's not registering my profile. Let me see if I can try and do it on the computer, maybe. But yeah, they went to commercial break while we're under the caution for the tire issue. Fun times. Okay, so it sounds like a bent toe link as well from it. But yeah, certainly not a good situation there. Okay, so the wheel actually broke. I'm curious to know if that ends up changing this penalty at all. Alright, why won't it let me... Oh, there we go. Now it's letting me check in for my points. Get my 50 points towards some of the track stuff, maybe. Alright, well now it's at least registering that I have my fan rewards account. Now we'll have to wait and see if... There we go. Checked into my phone. Found myself my 50 points for that, and alright, we're all set for the remainder of this race, so. There we go. Now we're ready to actually talk about the remainder of the race here. How's everybody doing? Everybody get their fantasy lineups adjusted. If you had Amarola, definitely take him out, although I don't know why you had Amarola in there in the first place if you did have him. Alright, so here we go. Alright. So yeah, this pit stop could potentially lead to some interesting stuff. I'm curious to see again, like, on the last set of yellow flag pit stops, we saw Kyle Busch jump up 5 spots. Let's see if somebody, like, imagine if Keselowski can jump up here and take control of the lead. I think that might be a bit of a big jump to expect out of Keselowski, but maybe third. I mean, I know he's showing third over on my leaderboard, third or fourth on my leaderboard right now, so maybe we'll see him up there, but if he can jump one, maybe two spots, get up there on that front row even, that'd be really good for him and potentially give him a shot to try and get this lead away from Larson and Byron. Because that's the big thing, is that we haven't really seen them in traffic at all. Now, whether they can, because that's the thing we kind of asked last week, is how would they perform in traffic? And it wasn't great, but then they managed to get the clean air back and took control of the race to end it. Like, each driver did spend some time in traffic. Like, for example, Byron got put behind Larson. Byron struggled for a bit, but then he eventually got the race back and took the lead. Alright, so here we go. Fun times. So far, my picks, though, in terms of who to keep an eye on, have actually been pretty decent. So yeah, they're still at commercials, so we're waiting to see what these pit stops end up producing here. But I think we could see some interesting stuff. Like right now, the top 10 is actually very balanced. You got 4 Toyotas, 3 Fords, and 3 Chevys in the top 10. It's actually very balanced. Yeah, I think Bill France Sr. would be very proud of this. Seeing 3 Chevys, 3 Fords, and 3 Toyotas in the top 10. Kind of seeing it evenly spread out as evenly as it could be for the top 10. A 3-3-4 split. Okay, so they already did their pit stops. Okay, I must have missed that. But here we go. They're doing the choose cone this time around. Well, I was trying to get my points while we were under caution. Choose cone looks like... Yeah, it looks like just kind of everybody's going inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside. So even car or odd number cars starting spots are taking the inside. So a 2-lap penalty is what it is for Amarola, where his tire came off on the racing surface and under green. So a 2-lap penalty, that's gonna hurt. That is not going to be an easy one to come back from. Not surprised to see guys like Kyle Busch maybe taking the free pass or the wave around here to try and get back on lead lap. Alright, that does put Kyle back on lead lap, and that will give him an extra set of tires as well. That's something to think about. He will have an extra set of tires here as we get ready for the restart here. So if we start having a lot of yellows late in this race, keep an eye on that number 8 car. He has an extra set of tires. But yeah, right now though, it's basically just a Hendrick picnic today. Larson's going to take the lead spot over Byron. Harvick up in that top 5 though. That's interesting to see. Here we go. There's my pre-race pick there. Christopher Bell making the 3-wide move on Keselowski and Chastain. Or maybe that wasn't. Not sure who that was, maybe. I think it was, Keselowski was one of them. Keselowski got ahead of him, but he got by Chastain with the 3-wide attempted move there. So Bell is up to 6th place here. So Bowman's up inside the top 10. Nice to see him up there for the first time today. Bubba Wallace in the number 23 is up in the top 10 for the first, or up in the top 11 here. Not quite into the top 10 yet today, but it's definitely curious to see. Curious to see where some of these guys end up finishing out. The guys in particular, let's see, guys who are on this strategy of the two stop or on the with the extra set of tires. Let's see. First one I think is Allmendinger, maybe Allmendinger or Kyle Busch. I think are the kind of first drivers on that alternate strategy. Back in like 20th place, so it'll be a little bit, but again, that extra set of tires late in the race could provide a big boost to Kyle's speed if need be at the very end of it. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see here, I'm sure. But yep, thank you guys, by the way, for everybody that's tuning in. Love seeing a big crowd here for these play-by-plays. I've had a ton of fun doing it, and seems like you guys have been enjoying watching them, so. There we go. They're battling it. Hey, Barry up inside the top 15. That's nice to see. And a bit of an improvement from how he was last week. So, more of his style of track, because short tracks really are his thing. That's where he grew up. He grew up doing the local late model. And that's what he had been doing up until about 2 years ago when Dale Jr. got him for Xfinity. Yeah. Is that he'd been doing the late model series and super late models. So these short tracks are definitely more his style, I think. So here we go. All right, Kevin Harvick looking fast. Brad Keselowski up to fourth, so two Fords, two Chevys, two Fords, and then three Toyotas in the top 7 there. All right, here we go. Oh man. So here we go. We're closing in on 20 laps, 25 laps to go here. Let's see. Chastain back in 8th. That's not good for him. Sure, he prefers to be up higher. Let's see. We got Harvick. We got Harvick, Keselowski. Let's see. Anybody further down to talk about? Briscoe in the 14. He is definitely looking better than he normally has so far this year. I said that Briscoe was kind of trending down, but honestly, this is where he won last year, and he's trending back up a little bit at this race comparatively to how he's been. I think this is on par with where he should be on some of his worst days. I think top 15 should be the expectation. Oh, bit of a nose chop there from the 17 of Buescher on the 99. So, curious to see how that goes. Here we go. Hey, Brian, how's it going? You're rooting for Harvick, too. Okay, so we got some Harvick fans here. But yeah, Harvick is really starting to kind of... he's put about 1.7 seconds between himself and Keselowski. And he hasn't really let second place William Byron gap him by about more than about a half second, which is about on par with what Byron's let Larson gap him by at this point in this run. So curious to see that that seems to be catching this up a little bit better. Now, obviously, where we still have a yellow flag coming here in about 25 laps to end this second stage, it will kind of bunch them all back together and give them another shot at this. But yeah, I'm curious to see what ends up happening here as we get later and later into this race. Briscoe up to 12th now. So Briscoe continuing to move forward. He might actually have a shot at the top 10 day today. Oh, and my other earbud died. Yay. Let's see if the first one's got some charge now. Nope. Alright, so I got no earbuds, so I'm not gonna be able to listen to the broadcast today. Yay! Let me see if I can put them on the charger for now. But yeah, when we get to the end of the stage, I'll check the battery level on them. But yeah, here we go. Let's see how we're doing. But yeah, so far honestly, these races have been pretty good this year. I know last week was a little stale with the Hinder cars kind of stinking up the show, going 1, 2, 3, and honestly, if Harvick if Elliott weren't injured, they probably would have gone 1, 2, 3, 4 like they did at Dover last year. I think it was, or no, back in 21, I think it was when they went 1, 2, 3, 4 there. But yeah, so right now, the biggest storyline going into this kind of second stage, though. I mean, Briscoe, he's up to 11th now. He passed Bubba. He's going to be looking for some stage points here as they go to commercial break on the broadcast. But yeah. Briscoe's going to be looking for some stage points to try and start earning himself some. Bowman, I think, really should be focusing on trying to get some stage points, although, in theory, I feel like Bowman is an accomplished enough race car driver he shouldn't have to worry about in this regular season. Although I don't think we're going to see as many different winners as we saw last season. I think we're going to see quite a few different winners, but I don't think it's going to be on par with what we saw last year, where there were like 18 different winners throughout the entire season, including like Buescher in the playoffs, Eric Jones in the playoffs as well, who didn't make the cut, but they ended up winning races once we got there. So yeah, we got 20 laps to go left in this second stage, which means 20 laps left. If anyone needs to still check their fantasy lineups, mine are pretty much set in stone at this point. I'm not too worried about any changes to them. Bell falling back here a little bit. Bell just dropped back behind his teammate, or his Toyota teammate in Reddick. So Christopher Bell falling down to 7th place here. It's a little concerning at this point, but yeah, kind of looks like about 1 second per position, first through third, kind of gapping about a second each. And then it's 1.7 between Keselowski and Harvick for third and fourth. Reddick is actually just making some moves here. Reddick up to 5th place here. He's only 1.5 behind Keselowski here. Nice to see you there, Team Myth Destroyer. Nice to see you in here again. I know you were here last week as well. So, yeah. Kind of bummed I lost out on I forgot to charge up my AirPods, I guess, or they weren't charged up enough after I got off work today, so just having to charge them up here during the remainder of this second stage. Alright, they're back from their commercial break. But yeah, again, Reddick has been on the move, though. He's passed both his Toyota affiliated teammates there with Hamlin and Bell. While they were at commercial break. Oh, Bubba Wallace got a double overtake. What? How did Bubba get up into the top 10? And then Briscoe passed him. Okay, so Bubba passed both Briscoe and Bowman, and then Briscoe passed back Bubba? Yeah, Briscoe just got back into the top 10, but yeah, it's nice to see that driver who we were kind of talking about earlier in the race. We were kind of talking about him as a driver who's been trending down this year. Good to finally see some speed out of him. Same thing with Josh Berry, honestly, because that was kind of the big thing we were looking to see this week, was that where he now has the stability that he knows he'll be doing every oval race. He doesn't have to drive the car to try and earn or feel like he has to show why he's the driver of that car. And then you also have the fact that this is a track that is much more suited to his style. It's interesting to see if this ends up translating, though, to success going forward on some of the intermediate tracks. Curious to see how a super speedway actually for Barry. So we haven't really seen him in a super speedway. Obviously, not at Cup, but in the Xfinity Series, he was in the mix at Daytona a couple weeks ago, and he just their entire team honestly fumbled it. But yeah. So right now, it's definitely interesting to see this the way that this field is kind of broken down. You got Bubba hanging around the outside of that top 10. But so far, definitely looking like it's going to be a pretty good day for a lot of these guys here in the top. Harvick definitely needed a good day to kind of bounce back from some of the unfortunate kind of starts of the season that he's had, and honestly the rough years that Haas has had as a whole. You got Blaney up inside of the top 10 after kind of Ford really struggling yet last week. Keselowski and RFK showing up yet again up in that top 5. And there goes Bowman getting passed by Chris Buescher for 11th. Oh, no. Bowman's fighting back on the outside. It's going to be a battle between those two, it looks like, for that spot. But, yeah. Definitely an interesting one to kind of watch here as we get ready for the end of this second stage. You got about 10 laps left. Oh, Bowman went for a big slide and lost a ton of momentum. Okay, that's how he ended up losing out to Bubba there. And now that loss of momentum has now got him under attack by that 17 car. By the way, if you guys enjoy the stream, leaving a like would go a long way towards helping more people find these streams. Because honestly, I feel like we've had some pretty good momentum going with these streams so far in 2023. Looking forward to Atlanta next week for sure, but we still got we're only just past halfway here in this race. We're closing in on 2/3 of the way through the race, so it's looking like it's going to be a pretty good day. Patrick, you probably already have done it. But, yeah. You refuse to like it. I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't spend this much time around here if you didn't enjoy it. Which would otherwise mean in that you like it. So why not hit the like button? But, yeah. So right now we're just kind of running it out to the end of the stage. No one really all that close to fighting for, in particular, points positions. Preece up into the top 15. Nice to see Ryan Preece. Again, another one of those drivers we talked about that was trending down kind of over the course of the year. He's currently 16th. But nice to see him kind of showing some momentum here. Let's see. Let's catch up on some of our guys who who've kind of saved that extra set of tires. Kyle Busch still in 20th. Michael McDowell also saved a set of tires. He's 21st. 22nd in Eric Jones. He also saved the set of tires. So there's quite a few drivers actually who have saved this extra set of tires. Curious again. I'm waiting to see if this ends up playing into the strategy at the end of the race, but I am curious because I think it could. If we get a rash of yellows late in this race, don't be surprised to see guys like Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, Michael McDowell, even Allmendinger, really kind of take control of this race late with some extra fresh tires. And here comes Kyle Larson looking to try and lap it. But, we got lap traffic here for Kyle Larson. He's trying to lap. Who's the last car on the lead lap anyway right now? Because they, obviously, as soon as I start talking about something, they flick away from it. It's Allmendinger. So, Allmendinger's got to fight to stay on this lead lap because, again, the extra set of tires really only helps him if he stays on the lead lap. If he doesn't stay on the lead lap, the extra set of tires really doesn't matter a ton. Like, the extra set of tires, it's really interesting because, again, the tires could potentially help someone who's lapped down, but they really aren't going to be a super game changer unless you're on the lead lap in terms of the actual finishing position. But here we go. We're coming down to the end of this stage. Let's see. Is Allmendinger going to stay on the lead lap? That's the biggest question. Now, if he gets the free pass, Oh, that was Burton that he was lapping. So he was lapping Harrison Burton for the second time, I guess. But yeah, it looks like they're not going to get to Allmendinger then, as here we go. Kyle Larson off of turn 4. He is going to win stage number 2 over William Byron. So some points and the playoff point, which I'm guessing the playoff point is the more important part for Kyle Larson right now, because Kyle Larson expects to win the race. First off, there's no H in colleague there, Keystone. Nice try to get creative with the spelling, but there's no H in colleague. I know it sounds like there should be, but there isn't. But also, I feel like they're trending down a little bit, but the thing is, I think also they're trending down from what your preseason expectations were, which was playoff position. You were expecting Haley to make the playoffs. And I think we both were expecting Allmendinger to make the playoffs, but we also haven't really seen us go to any Allmendinger style tracks yet. I mean, Daytona a little bit, I guess you could say, is a Allmendinger style track, because he does do well at the plate races, but once we start getting to some of those road courses, I think you'll see what's his name? I think you'll see Allmendinger start to kind of climb back. Let me see where Allmendinger is in the standings here. So Allmendinger is 19th in the standings, so he's only about 10-15 points outside the top 16 right now. And again, we haven't really gone to a Allmendinger style track, and he's had some bad luck as well. I mean, getting wrecked at Auto Club which put him right in the middle of the big one. Yeah, I mean, you've really had just kind of some bad luck for him. Now, let's see, where is Justin Haley at? Justin Haley in 23rd. I would say that might be trending down a little bit, but again, right around that 20th, that's right around where he was last year. The cautions for the end of the stage, Patrick. Did you forget about the fact that we have the caution at the end of the stage? But, yeah. So here we go. We're gonna have to wait until we get back from commercial break to see the pit stops. Again, I'm curious to see how some of these teams that have that extra set of tires, if it matters. I don't know what the tire allotment is. Let's see if I can figure that out real quick. First off, I'm going to bring the leaderboard back up. Okay, not trying to bring up the Xfinity leaderboard from last night. There we go. Cup leaderboard, let's see. Do they have... Because sets of tires is a setting that they should definitely have. They don't have sets of tires available. Great. Let's Google search this. And they're back from commercial break. I don't know if the answer... I don't know what the... if I'm going to be able to find a direct answer on how many tires. Maybe they'll start talking about it later in the race if it ends up coming into a factor. Alright, here we go. J-Ski, this is number 4. Let's see. Here we go, set limits. 9 sets, including the qualifying ones. So, alright, so 9 sets of tires. Alright, there we go. This has got 90% now. But yeah, so 9 sets of tires for the drivers. Let's see. Number of pit stops. Is that an option to check? Does not look like number of pit stops is an option. So I guess we'll count it out. So end of stage 1, mid stage 2, late stage 2, and now end of stage 2. So that's 4 sets that they would have already gone through. So again, you're gonna need a lot of yellow to at the end of this race to really start causing some trouble, but Harvick on pit road. Harvick looking like he might have made a pit stop, a good pit stop here. 3 wide for the race lead off of pit road, and it's going to be Larson, Harvick, and Byron. So Harvick up to second here. So here we go. Larson, Harvick, though, is going to be on the front row with Larson here when we get ready to restart this thing. So there we go. All right, so they have 9 sets of tires. So they had their qualifying scuff, which they probably have already was probably what most teams probably started the race on. Maybe. But the biggest thing is going to be, again, the sets of tires. So they've used 4. So most teams probably have 5 left, is my guesstimation at this point. I'm thinking somewhere between 4 and 5 sets left. Kyle Busch, Allmendinger, and all them should have 6 sets remaining. So here we go. Let's see where some of the other drivers kind of cycled out. Waiting to see the McDowell needs to cycle out the top 5 there because I'm sure he's not up there. All right, so here we go. So yeah, right now we're just kind of waiting to see everything cycle around and go. Right, here we go. So it's Larson, Harvick, Byron, Keselowski, Reddick in your top five. Then Bell, Blaney, Hamlin, Chastain, and then Briscoe rounds out the top 10. Chris Buescher is the honorable mention in 11th that you guys can't see on your screen. So Chris Buescher up in 11th. That's nice to see. Good to see both the RFK cars fighting for top fives and top tens so far early in this year. But yeah, here we go. Looking like we're gonna have a pretty good finish here for the race. Got a nice long 127 lap final stage here as we hit the 200 lap mark, or as we will be hitting the 200 lap mark here. So, all right, Harvick up in that top five, Bell up and fighting for that top five spot as well. We got quite a few people. Most of our pre-race picks that a lot of us made, Larson, Harvick, and Bell are all still in the fight. Very much so for some of them. But I'm curious to see if Harvick can end up taking that lead from Larson, and if Larson can fight back to claim the lead back from Harvick here. So here we go. Kevin Harvick. Curious to see what ends up coming out of this so far. You have to wait and see how the choose cone and all that works. I'm guessing Larson will take the inside. Harvick, I think you gotta take the outside. You can't let the two head in your cars control the front row this time. Yeah, so yeah, it looks like he's gonna share the front row. Yep. Here we go. Larson and Harvick sharing the front row. Then you've got Byron and Keselowski sharing row 2. Row 3 is shared by Reddick and it looks like Bell. Then you have Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin sharing row 4. Row 5 is going to be Chastain and Briscoe. So everybody kind of just went odd, even, odd, even, odd, even. So not a whole lot of interesting happening, but curious to see. Here we go. Green, green, green. And Harvick did lag back a little. Might allow for a bit of a push for the restart, but I don't know. I'm not seeing much out of that outside line, at least not on the initial restart. But here we go. Byron looking. He might end up having it. And they are 5 wide off the corner. 5 wide. What? There we go. They cycled down to 4 and now 3 wide on the backstretch. But man, 5 wide in turn 1 and 2. But yeah, it looks like definitely the front. So Larson was able to get out ahead of Harvick here. Then it's kind of the question of which of the Toyota drivers will end up winning that battle royale for now. Alright, so here we go. Man, I mean, again, this back of the field keeps going nuts, and then everybody kind of cycles backwards. Or has to kind of shuffle into line eventually. Josh Berry up to 13th. That's nice to see. So, I say, nice to see the Kelly Blue Book car there with the number 9 actually doing something. I know that's not a normal thing. So, here we go. So yeah, right now though, yeah, this battle between these drivers, it's kind of it's definitely more of a chess match than it is a boxing match. Like we kind of always like to see, because we like to see it when the race is when it is a fight. But for right now, this race, it's not going to be a fight. It's going to be a strategy game. It's when you make your final stop, when you can get that stop, and to an extent, it's also long versus short run cars. Gonna have to wait and see, obviously, if we can see any of those short run cars maybe fading back, or over the course of the run, or maybe some long run cars surging late. You do have some of those guys, who separated the strategy earlier, like Kyle Busch, now kind of being even on tires with the rest of the field. But yeah, again, maybe try and save some tires here for now. But yeah, it's curious to see how this ends up going. So let's see. Kyle Busch, here we go. This is who I've been waiting for them to talk about. So he's currently 17th, so he hasn't really recovered a ton. But again, this isn't necessarily a track that you're going to go and pass 20 cars in the first corner. I mean, you see it. You go 7, 8 wide, but then you still end up only passing like 2, 3 cars by the end of it. So, I mean, even if you're faster than a lot of these cars, it is going to be somewhat tough to pass. Because there's just not enough lanes to pass 20 cars in one corner. Because not everybody's running the same lines. So, here we go. I'm curious to see, though, how Larson will be able to handle some of the pressure Harvick will apply on the long run. Although, Larson has just ghosted Harvick on the short run here. So I guess we'll have to see if there even is any pressure to be applied on the long run by Harvick. Let's see. Right now, Hamlin and Reddick are fighting it out for a spot behind Bell here. I will say, Danica is not as bad as she was last week. And last week, she brought some energy, but it just felt off. Some of the points she would add too much energy for something that really didn't mean much. And then other times she wouldn't have, just kind of everything she was saying kind of the first half was off, but honestly, not as bad as some of the other broadcasters we've had this year. But yeah, here we go. Man, so now it's 2.5 seconds between Harvick and Larson. So Larson is absolutely ghosting him on this. So yeah, man, whew. There's a lot of speed here. All right, so they're going to a full screen commercial, so we can kind of talk some more racing here. Depending on what races we want to talk about upcoming. Mark, I'm curious to see how the short tracks like Martinsville and Richmond are later on. But yeah. Bristol Dirt's gonna be interesting getting to watch it on TV for the first time. But yeah, I'm hoping to be at some races though later on this summer. I know New Hampshire I'm gonna be at. The rest of the races I'm not sure. I haven't completely solidified plans yet for some of the other races, but I have some other ones on my list. Yeah, I know Patrick and I are looking at a couple of races as well. He's going to be at New Hampshire with me. But yeah. So far though, we have passed the 200 lap mark. We're actually closing in on 100 to go here. So here we go. So yeah, right now, honestly, this race has been solid. It's kind of it feels like this is kind of one of the Phoenix's fatal flaws almost is that no matter what you put on this track, it's gonna be a track position style race, especially where you have fast cars that are just that much faster than everybody else. But oh, there we go. Kozlowski just went and made a pass on Denny Hamlin for sixth. So that's a thing that happened. And now Keselowski's going to start working on Tyler Reddick to try and get into that top five. But yeah. I am curious, though, to see how all this ends up going. But yeah, right now, honestly, though, oh, and they're back from commercial break. So but yeah, again, it's kind of the whole thing that this race has kind of always been is that it kind of drags on a little bit. It does feel nice that it's only 312 laps, 312 miles. So it's a 500-kilometer race. But here we go. Yeah, Larson is the one of the ones to watch. Shocker. Now they're talking about the 24. Okay, come on. Let's talk about Bell. I'd like to see Bell get some. And the thing is, Bell is kind of hanging around here. Yeah, New Hampshire is one for you as well, Keystone. Yeah. There we go. Reddick, Danica Patrick's pick. Shocker that that's the first Toyota pick. But yeah, on these restarts though, I think again you need to stay close. I think Harvick is close, and I think Bell is close. I think if you're anything further back than about fifth, you're not winning this race on a restart, unless you have fresher tires. But again, without a rash of cautions here, we're not going to run out of tire sets. Because again, 4 to 5 sets left for most of these front pack guys, I believe. You got a long way to go. Kind of comes down to whether they use their qualifying scuffs to start the race or not. But yeah. So 95 to go here. Alright. Again, if you can get into that top five, I think you can affect the outcome of this race. I just don't see anyone further back than about fifth playing a factor here. Alright, so here we go. Let's see. Again, it's just kind of a lot of these guys have kind of fallen into lockstep again. We got about 30 laps before we have green flag stops, probably, because again, it's another 120 ish lap stage. So we'll pit once, sometime around 160, 165 ish. Very similar to to the final stage, or to the previous stage, I mean. Now talking about Chris Buescher. Nice to see some of the lesser drivers or some of the drivers that aren't in the top 10 getting some love here. Let's take a look at one of the interesting stories that's been trending up, honestly, all season. Corey LaJoie in the Spire Motorsports car. And he's in 28, so not quite the day that Corey LaJoie and the 17 wanted, but yeah. Nice. He's been doing really well this year, honestly, though. Alright. So here we go. Yeah, there isn't much chance. I think you're going to need a restart here to try and get Larson. You got 3.5 seconds right now on between Harvick and Larson. And you got about 1.8 to Byron, between Byron and Harvick. So yeah, it's interesting to see the gaps. I just don't know if again, I don't know if without a caution if you're gonna see them bunch up or close in on each other. But yeah, right now, I mean, the hardest thing for Keselowski is going to be if he can't get up into that 5th spot, he's going to have a very hard time making anything happen from 6th on back. Not saying it's not possible, but it's going to be much harder. So we're going to have to wait and see, obviously, but I would not be thinking that Keselowski needs... I think Keselowski needs to get top 5 to have a shot at the end of the race. Now, he's got a lot of time to get there. Another set of pit stops, another set of adjustments maybe, but again, you gotta be on your game to get there. Alright. Briscoe up inside the top 10. Honestly, the fact that he got here and he stayed here in 8th place, that's pretty impressive for a guy who was previously outside the top 15 for most of this race, and honestly has been outside the top 20 most of the year. Here we go. Man, a little chilly. I kind of wish I had my Kyle Busch sweatshirt, but yeah. Here we go. We got ourselves a pretty good race going on here. Again, it's just kind of the fact that there isn't a lot going on. And kind of the biggest thing being that the big thing that you're not is going to be the thing you don't see coming until it's here. So again, when that last caution is going to fall. If I could tell you when the cautions were going to fall, I could tell you the strategy I would go with. But we got another 20 laps before I expect green flag stops. So they're going to another full screen commercial break. So hopefully there's no wreck during this because it's a late race full screen yellow. Or full screen commercial, I mean. But yeah. Anyone else got any races on their calendar that they're looking at going to? NASCAR, IndyCar, maybe someone's got the money and ability to go to one of the F1 races in the U.S. There are 3 of them, so maybe. SRX I know has got a few different stops, hoping to get to one of them this year. in Stafford before they eventually move on from Stafford. But then there's trying to think of some of the other. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of other local series. World of Outlaws is another one that I've heard a lot of great things about. I've never gotten to see them race in person, but I've heard a lot of great things about the World of Outlaws races, and they look amazing on TV or on streaming apps and stuff. So, what are some of your guys' kind of list of races to either see this year or that you want to see soon? Because again, like a World of Outlaws race would be really cool to see. They just don't come up here very frequently because we don't have dirt tracks. But yeah, Stafford for the SRX is on my list of tracks I'd like to see a race at. Then there's obviously New Hampshire. I'd like to see a road course race at NASCAR, honestly. Because with in particular, like the Charlotte road course, I feel like that backstretch chicane, the front stretch chicane, both have some interesting positions to see what's going to happen. There's also although I feel like, again, it's kind of the thing that a lot of people say, or that I've heard a lot of people say, is that road courses look a lot better on TV than they, yeah, Patrick, I know you're going to be racing some Stafford Street stock, so, yeah. There we go. Yeah, that would be one that I'm sure some of you guys would love to go watch. Some local street stocks. Obviously, I know Patrick's going to be racing them. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this race unfolds as well. No real changes inside the top 10, by the way, since we went to this commercial break. And they're back from the commercial. But, yeah. Here we go. So Larson was the favorite. Okay, that's interesting to see. Larson was the pre-race favorite going into this race. But, yeah. Bell has caught Byron? William Byron had been caught. I did not think this was going to happen. Christopher Bell has caught William Byron. This is going to be interesting to see what happens now. But, yeah. Definitely some interesting races here. I mean, again, like, right now the Ryan Preece up into the top. He's 16th right now. Kyle Busch up to 15th. He's one of those that has the extra set of tires again. At this point, I've kind of cemented that extra set of tires isn't going to mean much, honestly. So, yeah, right now, again, Bell challenging Byron is what the cameras should be showing right now. Not sure why they aren't. I mean, they're talking about, they're showing about Briscoe right now, who's challenging, hey, you know what, at least they're showing someone who's challenging for position, even though I think I'd like to see the battle for fourth, but there we go. Briscoe makes the pass on Hamlin, and Hamlin hits the rear bumper, and now he's going to the inside here. He's looking to try and take that spot back. So, yeah, definitely an interesting race here to see. Kind of the back and forth there, and here we go. Byron got passed. Christopher Bell has now passed William Byron on track. Uh-oh. That's going to be a big thing there. That's 3 seconds now that he needs to reel in to catch Harvick, and another 2 on top of that. and some two and change to reel in Larson. But again, you give Christopher Bell one caution flag here. I think you have a very competitive race on your hands with a top three that doesn't include any sets of teammates. Bet Byron back and forth. I'm curious to see what that looks like. Woo-hoo-hoo. Is that another slide, or is that the slide from earlier that we saw from Bowman? I think that was the slide from earlier, because that looked way too similar to that slide earlier. Briscoe up into 7th. He made the pass on Hamlin there. And he did solidify that spot there. Here we go. Here comes Corey LaJoie coming to pit road. Corey LaJoie making the first pit stop. He's a couple laps down. He's not really a factor, but curious to see him making the first pit stop here. Might drag some others to pit road here. Again, I think Larson and Harvick are kind of the ones to watch here. When do they come? Are they both coming together? Here comes McDowell. McDowell, first one on pit road. First lead lap car, I believe that is, on pit road. Is McDowell a lead lap car? Or was he before this? Yeah, Michael McDowell was lead lap. McDowell! He's the first one to make the stop. Come on. Let's go, McDowell. I'd love to see McDowell leapfrog some spots. Logano is not one I want to see leapfrog a ton of spots, especially considering I left him in my garage on all my fantasy stuff, pretty much. But yeah, well, this top 5 really hasn't changed much. Here we go. Lots of top 5 contenders coming to pit road. Let's say Reddick. I see Keselowski. I think that's Bowman there. But yeah, there's a lot of guys pitting here. You're going to have to wait and see, obviously. Harvick's on pit road right now. Let's see. That's Gregson. That's Keselowski. There's Bell. Bell is on pit road. So I'm sure. All right, here comes Byron to his pit stall now. So we're starting to see everybody kind of cycling through here. Hopefully it's enough in time to get back here to the finish. But I'm curious to see what this top 5 ends up looking like after this. See if McDowell was able to leapfrog any of these drivers by coming to pit road earlier. So right now I think... here comes race leader. Oh, wow. Larson just now coming to pit road. That is going to hurt him in terms of the overall speed. I mean, you're going to lose some time on track by waiting like that. So I think Suarez, Priest, Bubba are the three main ones that haven't pit, and there's Suarez on pit road. And Priest is also in the pits, so that balances out. Bubba is now on pit road, and that makes this a pretty normal battle here. And it is a really tight. That tightened up the battle between Harvick and Larson. Larson manages to get back out though and take the command back ahead of Harvick. So Harvick was not able to leapfrog him. So now Harvick just has to try and stay close and hope for a mistake, basically. Or maybe he can find something to pass Larson. We haven't seen it yet today, so it would be him finding something completely new. Oh, Eric Jones, though, still on the track. If we were to get a caution, that'd be interesting. But, yeah, right now, I mean, it's just a really interesting, it's an interesting spot. I don't anticipate Eric Jones staying out much longer. I think he will eventually come to pit road. Alright, so here we go. I mean, honestly, again, like, this race, it really isn't a ton. But yeah, right now, let's see, it's about a half second between those two, and then another 3 back to Christopher Bell. So yeah, I'm waiting to see if we get a yellow flag here in these final 60 laps or so, but right now, it looks like it's going to be a long run duel between the Larson and Harvick machines here. But yeah, Eric Jones has got to be just hoping for a yellow. And honestly, he may end up being the yellow if he stays out. So here we go. Side-by-side commercial. I like seeing side-by-side commercials this late in the game. Or this late in the race. Here we go. So here we go. We are just waiting to see what the end of this race is going to end up looking like. But so far, I'd say it's actually looking like it's going to be a pretty good finish. We're getting set for a pretty good run. Again, I want to see Harvick at least stay close. If he can stay within about a second, that'd be good enough for me. So here we go. So yeah, right now, I mean, it's just really weird time in the race because there isn't really much going on here. So yeah, I mean, again, like, Chastain is in 11th, but without a caution, none of these spots kind of further back really make a ton of impact. I am curious to see what a restart, though, with Byron on the outside lane would do. Not in the lead of the outside lane, but just like 4th, maybe 6th. Like, I am curious to see, honestly, what that would look like. So, yeah. I mean, right now, again, it really is kind of the 2-horse race. Do we think Larson can hold off Kevin Harvick? Or do we think Harvick's going to find that burst of speed that he needs to catch and pass Larson without a yellow? With a yellow, I think it's very much all up in the air, and I think you could add in a lot more names. But right now, it really has been a very standard Phoenix race. And here we go, Eric Jones. He's leading and lapping traffic right now. But yeah, just curious to see what ends up happening here. Because again, I think it really is just kind of a style track that lends to this. Because, like, this type of track, you have so many different lanes. Like, and there's so many different ways to drive the track. I don't see there's any way to really make this race different just by changing the look of the cars. Like, you can make some drastic changes that change, like, again, like when they added shifting to this race with the next gen car. That changed the game, but beyond that, I mean, we haven't really seen any kind of minor aero package change actually be able to change how the Phoenix races play out. I mean, even look at just the championship races. Each of the championship finales have kind of played out the exact same way. And that's some with the next gen car, that's one with the next gen car, and 2 without. And they all played very similarly. I mean, even some of the better Phoenix races in memory, like again, like what was it? The Carl Edwards finish. the Carl Edwards Harvick finish. That was a fairly average race until the photo finish. Eric Jones is up there on fuel mileage. He hasn't pit yet. So he's hoping for a yellow. But I think Larson's about to catch him anyway without the... Yep, there we go. Larson just passed Eric Jones on track, so... Yeah, again, though, I think Eric Jones is basically going to run this this car out of tires or fuel, I mean. But, yeah, here we go. Let's see. Keselowski, there really hasn't been much changing inside the top 11, top 10. There is just not much going on. I mean, and it really isn't a factor. Like, again, I think the biggest thing to factor in is the fact that this race is now essentially a tune-up for the championship. Like, that's why Larson and all these guys have such fast cars this week, is because it is championship rehearsal day. But yeah, I am curious to see how far Jones will let himself slip back before he pits. But yeah, Jones tried something. Just kind of bummed it didn't work out better for him. But yeah. Whew. Again, if we could get a yellow, that would really make this finish interesting, that's for sure. Because you know everybody would pit for tires at this point. Yeah, everybody has plenty of tires, they just said. So, sets of tires is not really a problem. Alright, so here we go. Man, again, I just wish that there was more on-track action and or that they would show more of the on-track action. Although, again, right now, the biggest strategy play right now is the Eric Jones fuel mileage game. Let's see, how long has it been since his last pit stop? Yeah, everybody would come to pit road if they had a yellow. I am curious to see what ends up happening here, though, for Eric Jones, if, again, they get a caution. Like, he's gambling right now, but if it pays out, I'm curious to see how high he ends up finishing. Because he could realistically fight for the win, too. But he's now lost he is now he's now lost third place to Bell, and he's about to lose fourth to Byron. So here we go. Not a lot of. Oh, here we go. This is what we've been waiting for. Kyle Larson and Kevin Harvick side by side for the race lead. This is what we've been building for. This is what we needed to see. These two running down the track at each other. Harvick makes the pass for the race lead on the inside line. Harvick is the new race leader. He just drove up there and passed Kyle Larson on the long run. That is some power there from that 4-car. 4-car who had been the best, or the 5-car who had been the best car all day, even into the previous parts of the weekend. One practice, one qualifying, and he just drove up and passed him on track. Harvick looking like he might have something here. There we go. Woohoo! That added some energy to this, to the end of this race. Because now we've seen it possible now to drive up and just pass the leader. That's what we'd been waiting for. We hadn't seen it yet, but now it's here. So here we go. Man, this is really interesting now. Here we go. Again, as I said, it's timing the right move. It sounds like Larson may have missed the bottom. And again, it's having to do everything perfect. You can't mess up. You can't end up making a mistake here. Not if you want to end up winning this race. And I think, by the way, no, Eric Hill's still showing 8th. So he hasn't pit yet. I was going to say, I think he's pit, but no, he's back in 8th right now. But, yep, Patrick rooting for Harvick here. But yeah, I'm excited to see Harvick up here leading. I'd love to see him win in his farewell season here. But again, we've despite this being a championship rehearsal, we've never seen a driver actually win both the spring race and the championship in the same year. Now, granted, we've only had 3 years of the race, but yeah, we've never seen it. I don't even trying to think of any Xfinity or trucks if we've ever seen at any level the same driver win both. I don't think so. I don't think we've seen the same driver win the both races at Phoenix in the same year. Well, it's been the championship. Yeah, you might get something right. There we go. So here we go. We're under a side-by-side commercial. We got the. So right now they're showing the battle between Keselowski and Briscoe, I believe it is. So yeah, right now we're kind of waiting to see if we get we're waiting to see if we get a yellow here. We got about 35 laps to go, it looks like. But yeah. And I say right now they're also showing. I'm gonna see where does Kyle Busch end up running here? Because it doesn't. Okay, he's back. He's stuck in 14th right now. Michael McDowell 15th. So, man, it just seems weird that Kyle kind of just faded. Priest is now 14th, or he's 18th. I mean, so he hasn't really had the recovery drive that his teammate did, where they were kind of both charging through the field a bit. Austin Dillon's right now the last car on the lead lap. We're waiting to see if we'll have to wait and see if he gets lapped before we get a caution, if we get a caution. Because, again, caution not guaranteed in the final 35 laps, but I think it's likely in the final 35 laps. Right now, what were their last laps? So they're running right about 29 seconds a lap, so yeah, it looks like we got about another 15 minutes of racing if all goes green. So here we go. Wow, Kevin Harvick has gapped Larson by 1.8 seconds. But yeah, and then it's a massive gap behind them to Bell. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this ends up going. This is Harvick's first win. If Harvick wins this, it'll be his first win on reconfigured Phoenix. But man, I mean, I will say the Hendrick cars have looked really good to start this year, though. Right. Okay, so this track has the highest rate of overtime, not counting Daytona and Talladega. Highest overtime rate? I'm curious to see how that ends up playing out. That's a fun stat. Thank you, McReynolds and McMurray, because it sounds like he got that stat from McMurray. But yeah, so this track has the highest overtime ratio. Sir. So right now Harvick is going to and trying to pass Gibbs here. But yeah, so it looks like they did finally pit for Eric Jones, so he's coming to pit road. That puts Kyle Busch now up to 12. So Kyle is he might get a top 10 out of this, but again, and that's kind of the big thing when you win a race this early on in the season, you don't need to go for points. You can just kind of go for it. Hey, how's it going? We're just calling the end of this NASCAR race. We got 29 laps to go here at Phoenix. Harvick just took the lead about 5 laps ago from Larson, and he is driven away. Actually, Larson is stabilizing at about a second and a half back. It's not great, but I mean, he's stabilizing. And again, as we just kind of mentioned, that this track does have one of the highest overtime ratios, like race to overtime ratio. It is curious to see this. Bell is currently third, fourth Byron. So, yeah. Again, I think if we get a caution, it will be interesting to see what Bell and Reddick try and do on that inside line. Because again, assuming that they all kind of go with they've been doing the every other thing when it comes to the choose cone. They've all kind of been choosing inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside. And on the outside lane, there isn't really the options to try and do something creative. But on that inside lane from third or fifth, there is some interesting stuff you can try to get some stuff. But, yeah, it's just kind of running through the options and the potentials here. We've had 8 lead changes today, so it's certainly not a very lead change heavy race. And it never really is at this track. You have your fastest cars, they get out front and they lead for a while. And it really comes down to who can end up passing who for the most amount of spots. So here we go. Bowman back there in 11th. He's trying to get in that top 10 as well. Feels weird that Christopher Bell, he's hung around the top 5 almost all day, yet he hasn't actually gotten higher than third yet today. I would have thought that he would have gotten up into that top 5, top 10, but at some point today, well, up into the top 3, I mean, higher up. But he just hasn't been able to get there because Larson and Byron had been controlling the lead up to this point. And now it's Harvick controlling the lead and Larson holding on. So Zane Smith 3 laps down. That's not great, especially now. Granted, it makes sense because he's a rookie in a front row motorsports car. But actually, how's Todd Gilliland doing in the number 15? I mean, I'm sure it's not great, but let's see. Because that's one thing, is that he got moved out of his normal ride in the 38 for Zane Smith this week. And yeah, Todd Gilliland's not doing much better. He's a couple more laps down, but it doesn't really make a difference when you're 10 laps down versus 5 laps down. So here we go. So yeah, right now there just isn't much going on here at the front of the field. Here we go. Blaney up to 6th. That's nice to see. Ryan Blaney making some progress. Keselowski's kind of fallen back a bit over the course of the day. I don't know if he just missed on an adjustment or something, but yeah, that car has just not been there in the second half. So we got 20 laps left to go. Kevin Harvick does have control of this race if we don't get a yellow. He's kind of stretched the lead now to 3 seconds. So I said Kyle Larson was maintaining. He is no longer maintaining a gap. He has lost any sort of maintaining it. Now maybe Harvick could maintain about a 3 second gap. That is comfortable. Again, if we don't get a yellow. But if we get a yellow, no gap outside of lapping Larson would be comfortable. So, here we go. And he's not lapping. He's not going to get all the way back around and lap Larson. I don't care how fast Harvick is. There's no way that car is fast enough to lap up to second. But yeah. So yeah. So yeah, right now we're kind of just waiting to see what the run is going to do here as we get later and later into this one. Not a lot has happened, though. That is one thing. So we got 17 laps to go. So yeah, right now we're just waiting to see what ends up happening here. MTJ has had a pretty off day. He's just kind of been stuck in the back half of the teens, somewhere between 11th to 15th most of the day. It seems he's currently 18th. Man, there just is not a lot of. Again, a yellow would certainly excite the race back up, but again, it's kind of one of those things where Harvick just kind of he found the right adjustment. He got up to the front, and now he's taking control of this lead. There isn't much that happened, but again, when it got exciting, it got exciting. Harvick drove up there, took the lead on the track. But yeah, we're 15 laps still away from the end of this race. But yeah, here we go. Let's see what we got here. We got 15 laps to go, and again, there's just not much happening. The battle for the free pass is heating up there between Ty Gibbs and somebody else. I think. Oh, Allmendinger. So here we go. Let's see what we got here. Richard Petty has 10 wins at 5 different tracks. That's funny. They pulled up the list of 10 plus wins at a single track as if Harvick does win today, that would put him at 10 wins here at this track. So here we go. Here we go. Let's see what we got here. Oh! Harrison Burton spins and we have a yellow. The yellow flag flies here. Ten laps left. And we have a yellow flag here. Kevin Harvick, Larson, Bell, Truex, or not Truex, Reddick, and Byron are all going to get another shot at this one. It's back. Here we go. But yep, back another yellow here, and this is going to be interesting. We're going to have to wait and see how this pulls out. But man, interesting race though. I mean, again, another one that just kind of popped. Another late race yellow that just kind of popped up naturally. I mean, here we go. The pit stops. Let's see. So, Harvick, Larson, Bell, Byron, they're coming down for pit stops, and it's going to decide this, possibly. But yeah. 4 tires, get me out of there. That's the thing. You got to get 4 tires. There is not an option here. It's 4 tires, and it's go as far as you can here. Because, yeah, there's just not much going for it here. You got to do what you got to do here. I don't know. I don't think anybody tries 2 tires here. Now, if we get a second yellow, maybe someone tries 2 tires. But again, I think at that point, I think most of them would stay out. I think the general consensus would be a stay out. So the 2 tires would actually put you further back, and you might as well do 4 if you're going to lose track position. So, here we go. But on this stop, you got to do 4 tires. Nobody should be doing 2. I agree with Mick Reynolds where he said any crew chief that calls for 2 tires here should be fired. I'd say maybe a little harsh, but I agree. And here we go. They're making the pit stops. Wait, did Byron do 2 tires? Because he was out of there quick. I didn't see if I might have missed it, but oh, there were some 2 tire calls. I'm curious to see this one. So the 2 tire calls here, and there might be enough of them. Unlike last week when Truex tried it, there weren't very many people trying this strategy. This time there's 8 people on this 2 tire strategy. I think it might lend itself to Larson and the Hendrick cars to be able to win this one. But we'll have to wait and see, obviously. So here we go. We're getting ready for the finish to this race, and it's going to be an exciting one here as we get ready to go. Again, kind of waiting to see where everybody cycles out because I don't think all of these are accurate with exactly where everybody's running. I think we got to wait for a pace lap or two to cycle around all the people. So here we go. I think they're cycling right now through pit road or through the starting order. So we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But I think Byron and Larson are going to be one. Yeah, they were 1-2 coming off pit road, so they should be the 1-2 combo here as we cycle around. 6 laps to go. I'm excited to see this one. It's going to be a short run to the finish, that's for sure. Wow, the right front tire changer on Byron's car had to jump to get by. But here we go. Oh, anyone who stayed out, yeah, definitely not that. 2 tires, I still don't like the call, but where you have a lot of guys who have done it with you, let's see, Harvick is 7th, so you have 6 cars on the 2 tire strategy. I don't hate the call. I just think, again, it's going to be hard to hold off that many people, and I don't know why Kyle Busch is on this strategy, because, well, I guess it gets him some track position that he didn't have before. But yeah, the 4 tires, though, for Harvick, where he's on the inside line, he's going to be able to take advantage, and if they get more than 2 laps, he will probably have a good shot at getting through most of the field. Whether he gets to Larson and Byron, that's going to be the question. So here we go. Harvick needs to get that inside line. I don't know where he'll end up cycling out. I don't know how far back he might end up. Let's see. Larson inside, Byron outside, 2 to the outside there, Harvick to the bottom. So Harvick ends up going to the bottom. Shocker. I am curious to see how this ends up playing out. We got Blaney up inside the top 5. So Blaney's on this alternate strategy. But yeah, Harvick being better on the long run is not going to help him here in the 4th row. He's 4th row inside lane. Yeah, Harvick's not. He might 3 laps. He might be able to drive through the field in 3 laps. It's gonna be tough, but he can get through it, I think. Here we go. Nice jump from the. Oh, here we go. They're fanning out really wide here. Where is Harvick? That's the real question. There we go. Through the middle, 3 wide. Through the middle, through the middle, through the middle. He's 4 wide. He's 5 wide. They're back down to 3 wide. There we go. Oh, and spin! Almendinger! And another yellow. And we're going to overtime. So, highest overtime rate. It continues. But Harvick, did he gain any spots? That's the big thing. Like, how many spots did Harvick gain from all that? Because that burned off some of that good off those tires. No idea what happened there. I mean, I'm gonna say Ty Gibbs got put in the wall, but something happened in front of him with Noah Gregson and Allmendinger. Harvick is back in 7th right now. He took 4 tires. The rest of the people in front of him, I'm pretty sure, are all 2-tire stops. But that's the thing. Let's see. We're going to overtime. But yeah, he made a pit stop for 4 tires. The rest of the guys in front of him did too. But yeah, this is an interesting one here. But yep. Yeah, Harvick really just didn't say everybody kind of boxed him in because he tried to go for the middle there. I feel like he should have tried to go for the extreme bottom and not let anybody to his inside. All right, here we go. They're showing the restart here. Let's see. So he let Reddick take the gap on him. So Reddick right now in 4th is going to have the freshest tires. But yeah, so Reddick in 4th right now is the highest running car with 4 tires. Oh, man. Here we go. Let's see what Harvick's radio says. Just talking about getting run over. Yeah. I mean, you had to expect that, though, to an extent. But here we go. So, Larson, could Blaney win his first points race in over a year? Because it's going on almost 2 years since Blaney last won a points race. He's in the fight. Reddick gonna try and get his first Phoenix win. But yeah, Harvick, again, he's going to be 4th row inside lane almost certainly because I think between the guys in front of him, I don't see them giving him much. I don't see them giving him 3rd car inside lane. I don't see him getting much better than that, but here we go. No, I think Reddick's going to be the interesting one. If Blaney chooses the inside lanes, like, let's say Larson chooses inside lane like he has, Byron will take outside like he has in this situation. Blaney takes inside. Does Reddick also take the inside? Meaning that Chastain would then take the outside, go to 2nd car outside lane, then leaving Denny in an interesting choice, and again, potentially pushing Harvick a row further back if he chooses to take the inside lane, which I think he should. To try and take advantage of this one. Again, like, this is a very much a numbers race here at this point, like, trying to strategize exactly where you want to be. And here we go, we're entering overtime. So, yeah, Reddick is the first one with 4 tires. I wasn't sure if Blaney was one of them, but I didn't think so. But yeah, I think Reddick should go inside no matter what here. I don't know about the rest of them, but that would be my guess, is that I think Reddick has got to go inside. Because again, you can't get boxed in like you did on that like you saw Harvick happen on the restart. Here we go. Choose cone. Larson to the bottom. Byron top. Blaney. Larson or Reddick takes the outside. Did Harvick take the outside too? It looked like Harvick took the outside. If so, I'm concerned for him, but sure he knows what he's doing. But here we go. We're going to get ready for the restart. We're in overtime. We've gone beyond the distance that was set at the beginning of the race. So here we go. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see what this is going to result in. Okay, so yeah, Harvick is in the outside lane along with Reddick. I don't know why they are in the outside lane. I mean, I know that it does get. I know it get Reddick a row further forward, but I just would not want to get boxed in. That would be my biggest fear. From if I'm Reddick, is I don't want to get boxed in by other lap cars. Here we go, though. We got ourselves a 3-wide battle for the lead. Byron. Oh, the 45 going and pushing Byron through on the outside. Here we go. Byron. William Byron has the lead as they are 3-wide behind him for second place. William Byron is leading here, and he might go back-to-back. Here we go. Yep, no, it looks like William Byron is going to take the win here at Phoenix. He has the run off of turn 2, and no one's going to catch him. So here we go. Coming through turn 3 and 4 for the final time here at Phoenix for race 1. It is William Byron is the race winner over Ryan Blaney, Reddick third, fourth Larson, fifth Harvick. So Harvick comes home fifth after all that. Oh man, that's upsetting for again. I think Reddick got just boxed in on the top side, and he ended up pushing the eventual winner to the lead, but he had no options left. Outside the top 5, you also had Bell, Briscoe, Kyle Busch in 8th, Bowman 9th. Josh Berry got a top 10 for his Cup debut at Phoenix. Logano 11th. Ryan Preece got all the way up to 12th at the end of that thing. 13th, Michael McDowell with a top 13 finish. 14th, Bubba Wallace. 15th, Buescher. That's some pretty good finishes in the top 15. So there we go. Byron getting another big win here. So that's going to be 2 wins now early on in the year. Again, just don't want a mid-season collapse to where he kind of feels irrelevant through the regular season, because that's what happened last year, and it really felt like he peaked too early, and then he had to try and find it again by the playoffs. But Byron is your race winner here. I think that's pretty much everything, though, here from... yeah, Josh Berry got a top 10, but that's pretty much everything here from me on this race. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, leave a like on the stream. Of course, tune back in next Sunday around 3 o'clock for the next race. It's at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But outside of that, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next video, live stream, or whatever you decide to do with the rest of your day. Have a great day, everybody, and goodbye!